Very good. We'll call the meeting to order. And Ashley, if you would please call the roll.
Chair Tom Farrell.
Here.
Ronald Hasso.
Here.
Brian Clinton.
Here.
Meredith Knight.
Here.
Wallace Greener.
Here.
And Brooke Brown.
Here.
Right.
We also have Sean Garreton with Pegasus and Amber Lewis, City Administrator.
I didn't see Amber. Okay. Public comments. Do we have anybody that would like to address the strike force for items not on the agenda? And I do not see any hands up. So we will go ahead. And on our consent agenda, item number 2 is discussion possible action on the minutes from the August the 9th, 2021 meeting. And I'm going to go ahead and put all 3 of these up for discussion at the same time. Item number 3 is discussion and possible action on the minutes from the August 16th, 2021 meeting. And number 4 is discussion possible action on the minutes from the August 23rd, 2021 comprehensive plan strike force meeting. So I've had an opportunity to read these. So I would ask for a motion to approve with the caveat that if anyone has not had a real opportunity to do so, we can come back and amend them at a later date.
Move to approve with potential for amendments.
Thank you very much, Wally. Second, we have a motion and a second. And again, if you would just raise your hand if you're opposed. Otherwise, just keep your hand down and I will take that as an affirmative vote. And I'll go ahead and call the vote, and I don't see any negative votes, so those are approved. Very good. That makes Ashley's day when approve the minutes. Even more so when I actually come by and sign them. Item number 5, discussion and possible action to review and approve elements of the comprehensive plan. And let me start off by saying I fully agree that I've had a couple comments in regard to didn't have enough time we didn't get these in sufficient time to actually edit and come back. But what I'd like to do today is just kind of go through them briefly, and we will come back and re-edit those at our next meeting and approve those parts of it that we feel that are ready to go at that time. So Sean, I'm going to let you pick up if you would. I think I've got them all here. I hope I do. So, and if I don't, I will try to pull those up. So if you can just start with chapters we have, and then we'll kind of go from there. And then kind of answer any questions that we have on that, general questions, with the caveat that I realize we haven't had an opportunity to, many of us have not had the opportunity to fully digest them over the weekend. And maybe we can come back and do that. So if you'll kind of just give a brief summary of it, and then we can kind of go from there, Sean.
Sure. I apologize that I didn't get those to the city until I think Thursday or Friday morning. We were waiting on some other information and I didn't get that until Thursday. But the documents that are now, the chapters that are all in sort of a preliminary draft or final draft, whichever you want to call it, format, are the introduction, the community profile, the current land use chapter, future land use chapter, Parks and Recreation chapter, mobility chapter, the facilities chapter. Tom is still going to get me a little bit of information on drainage to put into that chapter. We got the water and wastewater and information and drop that in. But as soon as I get that, it should be pretty quick turnaround. And then Brooke, I apologize. For some reason, I thought you weren't getting back till September 3rd. So I thought I had a little bit longer leeway to get the economic development of fiscal chapter. I told Tom in an email today, I'd get that out to him, and I'll just send it to both of you guys probably tomorrow, close of business. And then the implementation chapter is not going to be a very detailed chapter. It's going to be kind of bringing in all the policies from each of the other chapters into sort of a table format, I think is what we talked about. I should have that probably by Wednesday, close of business. What we had talked about last time was that there's now a point person on the strike force for each chapter. And I'm just ready to receive your all's edits. If you have time to edit those documents, whoever you are, you know who you are on that designated chapter, and just get those to me. I'll incorporate those edits pretty quickly and turn all of those back around. So I think by the, so that's where we're at with that. Brooke, yes.
Is it possible to get these documents in a Word format where we can do a red line edit for you?
Sure. Yeah. I think almost all of them are, except maybe the current land use, Ronald. And I know you're reviewing that one, and I do have that in a Word document, so I can get that out also. But I'll go back in, Brooke, and just make sure that the final drafts are Word documents. I don't have that Dropbox in front of me, Ashley.
They actually were. I emailed them out. I think it was Friday, and I included them all, and all but I think that one were in Word format. Okay. Obviously in the packet they show up as PDF, but you can find
okay, I went to the packet rather than the back.
Yeah.
So that'll solve it.
And Brooke, that would be awesome if you guys could do it as a red line like that. Yeah, the track changes. So Tom, that's kind of my summary. I'm happy to get into more or answer questions, or you take
Let's look at I have, this is, let me kind of go through this and make sure I know our point people on each one of these. The community profile was mine. Current land use was Ronald. Future land use was Ryan and Mo. Mobility was David Smith. Parks and Rec, I have David Raymond. And David, I think, has resigned from P&Z, has he not, Ashley?
Yes, from the Park Commission. Yes,
I meant Park Commission, excuse me, P&Z. Okay, Park. I got at least part of it correctly. So I'm going to leave that as a question mark, because we may want to come back and have somebody else. We may get a volunteer to do that. The facilities and infrastructure is mine. And the economic development and implementation. Brooke, you're going to deal the economic development, and they've got the implementation. I would prefer to have more than one of us do that. I was going to do it. Ryan, I don't know, I'm asking you to do quite a bit on this, but could you and Brooke and I work on the implementation for that?
I'm happy to, as long as I can do it in the next 2 weeks. I have, well, week. This week is a good week. After that, it's going to go downhill again. Okay. But if there's something I can work on this week, I'd be happy to.
Let me, do we have anybody that would like to work on our Parks and Rec? I can.
I've got my hand raised.
Oh, hey, Phil. Sorry, I have to either put my glasses on, Phil, or take them off.
Not a problem, Tom. Not a problem. I'm glad you asked the question, because I was raising my hand. If you like, I was the other person that applied for the strike force, and I've attended more of the meetings than anybody else. I'm willing to do it if that would be agreeable to you.
Let me, I will have to, we have to have somebody that's on the strike force, but let me work with getting that done this week, Phil, and I'll get back with you individually if you don't mind.
Okay.
But I appreciate the offer on that. I think that's great. And yes, you have been here, and I do appreciate you doing that.
Tom, there is one other chapter that we've just kind of haven't included in the discussion, and I think it's because in maybe the last meeting, we decided to pull out the vision, mission, and values, and put that into a separate chapter. All that information is there. It's not going to take me long to kind of put that together, but that's just, so I'll actually commit to getting that done before the close of business on Wednesday as well. So but if there's somebody who wants to volunteer to review that.
I think I've helped them get the information for it. So I will volunteer to try to help you look at that too. If you any of us can do that. Yeah. I have no problem about that. So we will go from there if you don't mind. Okay. So let's.
Hey, Tom, this is Ryan.
Yeah,
on the parks thing, I just wanted to note that, and I got some residents contacted me as well, and I agree that we, as the strike force, we did not really take a major position on the parks plan. We more simply just thought it was not our job to redo it, and so I just didn't want. It seemed to heavily kind of take the position that it was needed and wanted by going in through the history of it. And I just, as from our commission's perspective, my view was more that we were almost agnostic, that we didn't think it was our job. Here's what the city has done, and here's what it is, rather than going into great detail and kind of. I don't want it to appear that we're trying to convince people of this when really what we did was take a more passive role.
That is correct. And absolutely what we did was accept the park plan, park master plan as part of our master plan on that. But this would be the introduction for that, and it would be, that's really what we're talking about on that. But I do appreciate that. And I think that's a good point, because we did not take a position specifically on the milk and cookies or even on the dog park field. From a standpoint of that, we deferred to the park master plan on that. So I think
Brooke had a good proposed intro to that she sent out just before the meeting.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I'll be glad to look at it, Brooke.
You should have an email from me with a couple of bullet points.
Great.
Brooke, would you mind reading that? Because I think that's probably the direction we need to head.
Let me get it here. What it says is that maybe we begin the park section with an intro that would state something like, rather than assess park priorities, the comprehensive plan strike force has incorporated the 2018 Rolling Wood Park Master Plan into this report. In addition, results from the recent July 2020 survey and the comprehensive plan strike force survey are addressed, where those survey results indicate strong preferences with regard to park matters. And then you would start the key takeaways from the 2018 park plan include, and then it would start with where the paper starts now. You would remove, I would recommend you remove from the first couple of pages of discussion any reference to the surveys and pull that all to the end. And then we use maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs to describe what the strong survey results were.
And I think that Bowie actually did a pretty good job of putting that in the little pie charts for us, which I can follow.
That reminds me, on some of these, we're putting the survey stuff at the front, and some of them we're putting the survey stuff at the back. And it seems to me to be consistent. We should choose one of those 2 locations.
Yeah,
where I'm putting those slides, just so you know the rationale. Bowie suggested where within the document that slide should go is because it references information that's in those paragraphs. So it's not always in exactly the same place. I'm happy to move that around however you guys suggest.
I think generally
over that?
Sean, it would seem to me that unless they are specific to a paragraph, then Ryan, you do this for a living, but it seems like I always put the backup material at the back end of the document on that. So I would say that unless it's paragraph, if it's directly related to a paragraph, Sean, put it there. But if it's not, put it at the rear of the.
What I would strongly suggest is whoever's editing those documents, just make that suggestion, and we'll move that however you think it works.
Okay.
Ashley, could you please forward me the email that Brooke sent out? I don't think I got that.
I will.
And Sean, I think that for what it's worth, I think that makes sense. I hadn't thought about how it might relate to the subject matter of, the discussion. So that does make sense that when you're discussing particular points to add those in there.
Okay. And the email I sent out, I did a reply to all from the one that had Ron's suggestions in it. I think it's Ron. Yes, Ron's. So you probably aren't included on that either, Sean.
No.
I sent that one over to you as well, Sean.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing either Ron or Brooks to me yet, but maybe it'll pop up here later. Somehow I feel like I'm on the end of the internet of the whole world. Everybody gets one before I get one. So I'm not sure.
Be a bad thing.
I guess.
Ron should have come to you earlier, but it looks like about 3 o'clock. And then Brooks, I'm not sure. Let me see what time you sent.
Mine is showing it was sent at 4.
4 o'clock.
So
I'm sure it'll download when it comes in. But we're not. I haven't gotten it yet, but that doesn't mean I won't.
The mice running your computer processor are taking a break, Tom.
This is a iPhone, a new iPhone, I might add. So yeah. So we've tried all the services, and I've decided that Park Hills Drive is on the end of the line for everybody. So we just get when everybody else gets the emails, they'll finally just shift it to us and let us get some. So
I will say, Tom, it does sound like Brooke just volunteered to work on the parks section.
I thought she did it already because that sounded pretty damn good. I was going to say that's certainly better than I could have done doing that. Brooke, am I overloading you by having you do that also?
No, I'm leaving tomorrow for 2 days. I'll be back midday Wednesday, and then I can give full attention to this.
Right.
And I'm happy to do it.
All right. Phil, I think that we're going to just let Brooke do that if you don't mind.
And I'm happy with you.
She sounds like a perfect person to do it. Much better than anybody else I can imagine.
And I'll give you a call and get your ideas too.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're planning to walk through them, but I glanced through the future land use one, and I still think that some of the votes that we took are not in here. So I'm going to work on going back through our minutes and making sure that we add, because we talked about setbacks, the 75-foot setback, and we kind of went through all those. Yes. And we talked about restricting development over the creek and things like that. So I just want to make sure we go back and include all those things. And Sean, that's not your fault. You are not on those. You would have no reason to know that we took all of those votes. So I'll go back and make sure that stuff gets included.
Appreciate that.
Okay. And Sean, I think the only part you've received the infrastructure portion that you needed from me in regard to water and wastewater, but you wanted the drainage portion of that. which I've done, and I thought I'd sent it out, but I obviously did not. So I will make sure that goes out tonight to you.
Okay.
To the drainage part of it, and so I've got to add onto my list the vision and mission statement to look at. Since I helped them do that, I guess it'd be appropriate for me to do that.
One more thing, Tom, on the, kind of talking about putting it together from a writing perspective, it might make sense. And I think it would help the residents read it too, is if at the beginning, at the top of each, we had a key takeaways for the section. I think some of that's done. So for example, in community profile, there's a key takeaway at the top. In Parks and Rec, there are key takeaways at the top. I kind of like that format. So it's really clear that people can kind of say, okay, I don't need to read this section, or I do need to read this section. We're probably going to be the only ones plus city council that actually read the whole document. But it might make it easy and digestible for the public to kind of add those key takeaways at the top of each section.
Sean, can you do that, or do you need us to do that as we edit?
I would say editors take a stab at it, and then if you just want to punt it to me, I'll do that as well.
Okay. All right. Okay. Are there any other chapters, Sean, that you want to try that you have an issue with, that you think you need some additional help on?
No, I don't. No, not yet. I don't think so.
And Ashley, I don't think we're waiting on anything from Bowie. I think we've gotten everything we're going to get out of him. Is that correct? Or am I missing?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. We got those. And I do apologize, Sean. I thought I had sent you that drainage deal, and
it's not a problem.
But I will send it out again. Okay. Can't imagine what happened to it. It's out there in outer space again. Okay. We have the other issue that I would like to address. Are there any other discussions or any other comments on our review process that we're going through? I think this is mostly what we were trying to do. What I was trying to get done today was just to make sure we stayed on task about all our editors' situation. And I realized that we didn't have a chance to look at this in detail because we didn't get it enough time on that. So given all that, is there anything else on that we need to discuss on format that we might like to include in this?
Can we talk a little bit about how we plan to present it to the community and gather community input?
I do want to have after we agree and vote on it and put it together, I do want to have we agreed to have a final town hall meeting. And I want to try to get that done as quickly as we can after we finish this. And to that, kind of leading into that, obviously next Monday is Labor Day. So probably shouldn't have a meeting there and make Ashley come to do something on her holiday. But what I would like to do, I do have availability on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday after that following Monday to have a time. And Sean, Ryan, you'd indicated you might be getting busy again, which is great from an income standpoint. You know, being an hourly employee, that's always good. But is there a time that we probably could that everybody would find more useful on that week after the 7th, 8th, or 9th is the dates I have on that. So I can do either one. And I believe, Ashley, we're good on either one of those. Sean, do you have, let me ask you, since you're going to be there on that, is that going to work for your schedule too?
Well, it's a little bit up in the air. I had told you and Ashley last week that I'm going to be in Arizona on a business trip, but I just got an email from the client that COVID has just gone through the roof down where I'm going to be, right on the border, Yuma, Arizona. And so we may be shifting all that to via Zoom. So if that happens, I'll definitely be available for any meeting at 4 o'clock any of those days. I should know by tomorrow, Tom.
Okay.
I'll get right back to you about that.
What I would like to do is pick a date, and then if we have to change it, that gives me time to change it. Does Tuesday work for everybody? That would be the 7th.
Tuesday's the best for me. I wonder though if city staff has any conflicts with other commissions at that time.
I think they have a meeting at 7 o'clock. I cleared this with Ashley this afternoon. Ashley, is my notes right?
Correct. And we like that day because we will be here already. So if y'all want to have it on Tuesday, that would work.
That's the best day for me, Tom.
All right, well, let's just do Tuesday, the 7th, and then that'll give me a chance to go back through and edit what I need to edit and review all the other documents to have those ready. So, Sean, I think I know what you're waiting on. You're waiting on your edits. You're waiting on my drainage deal, and that's it, right?
Yeah, but I definitely have work to do on the fiscal chapter and the implementation chapter. So I'm working on that. And then whenever I get your information, I'll drop that in the facilities, and I'll send you the mission, vision, values chapter tomorrow as well.
Ryan, I don't want to jump around that, but the town hall meeting, let's make an assumption. And I'd like to kind of pick a date to do the town hall, even though we may be putting the cart before the horse, because I may not have, until we get this done, we want to do it. And I'm going to give a couple of little options on this. I know that in order to facilitate this, we could do, and I'm not suggesting this is what I would prefer, but we could have a joint meeting with planning and zoning on a town hall meeting that would take off, that would alleviate one meeting that we would have. That's really kind of mixing the two things. My preference is for us to have our own town hall meeting and then provide the input we get from that back to P&Z with the final documents. That would be my preference. But if we're getting into a situation where we got a lot of meetings, I'm willing to do it that way if we would like on that. Does anybody have a comment, preference one way or the other?
My only comment, Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley, but I think you alluded to it, Tom, but in order to approve the comprehensive plan, I think you have to have two. I think the planning commission has to recommend it to council, and the council has to have two hearings on it. I believe that's correct.
Yes. And
Amber, is that right?
I don't know if the council has to have two hearings.
Yeah, I think it's just
Might just
one.
need to hear once. Yeah, but
Okay.
Yes, it would need to be recommended by P&Z and approved by council.
Tom, I would think that we would want to get public input before we presented it to P&Z.
Yeah, that's my preference too, Ryan. And we've gotten a lot of comments that have tried to incorporate in here. So, and I do appreciate everything. I know you've gotten some and you've put them in here, and of course the survey results we have. But I think that, that would be my definite, I would prefer that. So Ashley, I'm gonna kind of ask you on your schedule. Yeah, let's make an assumption that that we have this finished by the week of the September 13th, that week sometime. So could we have a time either after the 13th to set up a town hall meeting that's good for you?
So later than the 13th not included?
Yeah, right now I would say probably not included. That gives me two more dates to go through and finalize our document on that.
Sure. If we want to wait until the following Monday, that's the 20th, that's obviously open. These are generally, on Mondays anyways. It looks like we have council on the 15th, which is that Wednesday. So if we wanted to do Tuesday or Thursday, though those are usually pretty busy weeks, and we'd probably have to have an agenda out before the 13th even happens. So I would say the 20 or 21st look good.
Let's do the right now. Let's tentatively set up on the 20th, and next on the 7th next week when we meet, and we'll kind of know a little bit better about our schedule about doing that. And Ryan, is that going to conflict with what you're thinking of your timing?
I have a Texas Supreme Court argument on the 16th. So the 7 to 10 days before that, I am unavailable, but after that, I will be fine.
Great. And happy, I hope.
Always tired is the only thing that happens after that. You wait another 6 months to a year to find out.
Oh God.
So Tom, the 20th would be a town hall date, or is that the date you think we will finalize the draft?
I'm trying to finalize it on right now. I'm suggesting that we can finalize it on the 13th of September and do a town hall meeting on the 20th of September.
Okay.
And then, immediately after the town hall, I would like on that day, the 20th, if we get any comments, to either incorporate them in the document or not. And so after the 20th, I can send it to P&Z one way or the other. That's what
we may need a meeting in between the town hall and sending it to P&Z.
Okay, we can do that too.
Unless you want us to just give you carte blanche.
No, I don't.
Authority to make any changes.
No, this has been a tremendously group effort, and I'd like for it to stay that way. Let's, if hopefully, Ryan, and I always am hopeful about this, after the 20th, the town hall meeting, people will say, we love it, it's great, go. In which case,
I hope you're not holding your breath.
I'll always think the positive. So we'll check. We'll try it that way, and then we'll see what we need to do after that. How's that? Okay, those are the dates that we're dealing on there. I know this has been, I really thought about canceling the meeting, and then I thought, it's good that we just kind of keep the ball rolling and do that. I've got a couple people that are not on the call yet that I need to follow up on to make sure they're getting their portion of the editing done so that we can finish this, which I will follow up and do so on that. Do we have any of our citizens on the line that would like to make a comment, or any of our members that would like to make any comment? Wally, you're being awful quiet. You're always never this quiet. That's scary. I don't know what you think.
No, Tom, not scary. I wish I were a resident, and I wish I'd been able to build on the Timberline lot. I would be more interested in the issues regarding single family, but I don't feel I should be sticking my nose out when I'm not a resident physically of the city, although I spend a lot of hours every day in the city.
Yes, you do. And you've been here a long time. So
30 years now.
Yep. Okay, and Meredith, welcome back. I appreciate you letting us know. I think Meredith is still here. Yep, she may have had to pop off. Okay, I don't have any other comments of anybody that would like to make anything. Sean, I think we know all what we're doing. Appreciate you getting us those drafts on that. So we'll follow up and try to get those back to you as quickly as we can. Brian, welcome. Hadn't heard from you. With that said, do we have any other comments that anyone would like to make? And not seeing any. With that, take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Wally. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you, Brooke. And again, just if you would, just keep your hand down if you are in favor of adjourning, and raise your hand if you're not. And I see no hands going up, so we are adjourned. Very good. Thank y'all all for your time, and we will get our editing done and get it back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Right.
Bye-bye.